Hi, this is Mrs. Blake, your ESL teacher. I wanted to do a quick review of Unit 1 for Geography. Now, Geography might be a little bit difficult because it's a lot of new words, but let's talk about it and have a conversation about some of those new words, so hopefully you can understand a lot more about Geography Unit 1. So when we start with geography in 1.02, it tells us about two things. It tells us about geography, and geography is the makeup of the land. Okay, it's mountains, trees, rocks, and land. But it also talks about human geography. Now, human geography is the way we use geography. Okay? So it is how we, the humans, use geography. Okay? And we use geography in quite a bit of ways. So when we think of geography as mountains and lakes and streams, we use geography to get food. We use geography to make clothing. And our geography defines our language. Okay? Because the language I speak here in America is going to be different than a language spoken over in Italy because we are separated by land or geography. Okay? And all of the things that make up human geography are part of culture. Okay? They are specific to a region that's usually defined by geography. So the overall theme here for 1.02 is that geography is the makeup of land, and human geography is how the humans use that geography or use that land. And they use it in ways that we call culture, with things like food, language, and clothing. Next, in 1.03, we're talking about how we can define where we're at by going from space to the house on my street. I want you to look at it here like going from biggest to smallest. I could tell you that I live somewhere in space, or I can be more specific and I can bring it farther down. Okay? So this unit, or this part of the unit, is how am I going to describe where I live? So I don't just live in space. I don't just live on the planet Earth. I live in a certain hemisphere on a continent at a certain point of longitude and latitude that is going to lead you to the house on my street. Okay? So let's look at that here. Here I have the Earth. Now, the Earth is going to be separated. I'm going to make two Earths. They're going to go back together in a minute. The Earth is separated by hemispheres, and these help describe where we're at. So we divide the hemispheres this way, and we divide them this way. When we divide them back and forth, it is called the equator. When we divide it up and down, we're dividing it by the prime meridian. These are set lines, imaginary lines, that help us to divide the Earth into smaller sections. Okay? So then, once we split them in half, we're going to look at our compass here to help us name the regions. Okay? We have the regions north, south, east, and west. These are the hemispheres. Okay? The four hemispheres. Now, when we take them and we put the Earth back together, we see that our location is going to be part of two hemispheres. So the United States is over here, and we are part of the northern hemisphere because we're on the top here, and the western hemisphere because we're over here on the left. Okay? Now, when we want to be even more specific about where we're at, we're going to use lines of longitude and latitude that go along with the prime meridian, that start at the prime meridian and start at the equator, to find an exact spot on the Earth. So if I went out to sea and I found some buried treasure, I could find the exact point of longitude and latitude and give it to a friend in Italy and ask them to meet me there, and they'd be able to find the same exact spot in the middle of the ocean to meet me at. That's how longitude and latitude work. Longitude and latitude are just like GPS in your phone. So if I put my location of Fort Worth, Texas into, I went to NASA and I asked for the longitude and latitude of my location. It gave me the longitude and latitude of my current location. See how those decimal points very exact, and dropped a pin there. So when you're using your GPS, it is dropping a pin there based on longitude and latitude. And these are like a grid that helps us find exactly the same place. The cool thing about longitude and latitude is it doesn't matter who you are in the whole world. We all use longitude and latitude the same way. So we could find the same place using that no matter where we lived in the world. All right, so give me a second, we'll go back. So, based on which hemisphere we are, tells us which season we're in. If we're closer to the sun, we're in summer. But because we're closer to the sun, someone on the other side of the earth is farther away from the sun and will be in winter. So these seasons here are defined by where we are on the earth when it's going around the sun. The next thing we're going to talk about is Pangea. Pangea is the idea that hundreds of millions of years ago, all of the continents were together. And as it aged, all of the continents moved farther and farther apart into what we know now. In section 1.04, we're talking about describing the outside of the Earth. How does the Earth look? Just like people look different, planets look different, and the Earth is defined by certain things. Things on the surface describe parts of the Earth. So parts of the United States have the Great Lakes. So that defines part of the Earth. The water cycle defines part of the Earth because some places are green while others are brown based on how much water comes out of the water cycle. Parts of the Earth are also defined by things inside the Earth, so the crust, mantle, and molten. These are an example of plates under the Earth, so plate tectonics. If these plates move, they can cause earthquakes, which is going to change the way the outside of the Earth looks. Okay? If they push up, it might make a mountain, which is going to change the outside of the Earth. If they go apart, they might let lava through in a volcano, which is going to change the way the Earth looks. So 1.04 is about how everything on top of the Earth is changed by things that happen in the Earth and on top of the Earth. 1.05 is telling us how everything that people do on the Earth affect geography. So my religion, food, political, economic system, those all affect the geography, and you might be wondering how. Well, if I dig a hole to plant plants, the food is going to affect the way geography looks on the top. A lot of wars are started because of religion. If we're having to change things, or there's fires or other things that cause the earth to change because of a war, religion is 2 steps away, but it's changing the way geography looks. Okay? Now, this isn't saying that the effects are good or the effects are bad, but just saying that everything people do including religion, food, politics, economics, all changes the geography of the Earth. The other things about the geography on the Earth is that we have natural resources, things that humans use to help us live. Some of those are renewable and will come back, and some of those are non-renewable and will not come back, like fossil fuels. Okay? So again, these change how the Earth and the geography are based on what we use. When we talk about political and economic systems, there's been questions on how these are different. If you read through in Unit 1, it tells you that the political systems are how the nation is governed, which are the laws that help with people. And the economic system talks about how we buy and sell things. The political system is rules about how people live, and the economic system is rules about goods or things that we buy and sell. 1.06 is careers in geography. It's worth taking a look at for something you might be interested in the future. Here is a list of the vocabulary we went over. Hopefully you'll be able to print this out and be able to define all of these words in Unit 1. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day and thanks for watching.